Still can't hear me? You can or no? Yes? All right. I believe that's the first time I ever had an oil down that lasted so long the batteries died in the microphone. There's always something new. They tell us the steering wheel came off. That'll put you in a front end wobble down there. Meanwhile, Mike Sullivan in the Corvette. And Angela Kenson. And that 67 blown Shelby. Angela currently sits number 3. Mike's in at a 7002. He just needs 3 thou to get into the Cool Kids 6-second club. There we go. Angela shut off way early. You can definitely hear when that car goes silent. And a 7003 for Mike after a 7002 in his first qualifying effort. They're still not going to let him in the clubhouse because, well, you got to run 6s to get in there. Angela runs 673 at 162, and she'll, of course, stand on her 638 from earlier. Sylvain Naden. Mustang left side, no blower sticking out of the hood of this one, but it does have 800 cubic inches and change. And Hong Lee, now Hong has been bumped out. That TT Motorsports car right now sits in the number 34 spot. As I said earlier, there is scheduled to be another qualifying session tomorrow, but Ma Nature may or may not let us do that. So you're going to feel a whole lot better if you head back to the coach tonight knowing that you're qualified. You want to get in? Simple. See that 746 on the scoreboard? Yeah, run quicker than that. Well, it sounds simple.
We obviously can't run top.
Hang on, Sylvan. Man, that thing hiked the nose and turned left, and he stayed with it. 681, exactly what he ran earlier. Hong goes 7,500. Well, the good news is he picked up 2 hun. The bad news is he needed 8 hun. So he'll stay on the outside. Sylvan runs within 2 thou of what he did before, and man, I can't believe he stayed with it. That thing picked the front end up and turned left out there, but he was able to input it back into the center of the groove and bring up Bill Janke on the left side. Now, the car on the left side didn't get down the first time. He did a big wheel stand and then idled down the racetrack, so he's not qualified. Stephen Palmer over here in his TT Motorsports car, he also is not qualified. Listen up in the pits, Super Gas and Top Dragster from Lebanon Valley. Come on down. Super Gas and Top Dragster, Lebanon Valley, we need you to the staging lanes, please. Bill Janke. Boy, you can tell it's humid out there, can't you? Listen up in the pits. Attention in the pits. Competition eliminator. And we're talking competition eliminator qualifying for here. We need you to the lanes, please. Competition eliminator for qualifying. Q2, come on down. Well, Bill Janke just knocked the tires off of it again. 785 for Stephen Palmer. Exactly what he ran earlier. It wasn't good enough earlier. It's not good enough now. And Janke's going to be hoping that we do have that extra opportunity tomorrow. And right now we're hoping that Janke can get that thing started and drive it off the racetrack.
What do you need? All right, I'll speak out the gate here.
And apparently Bill unable to get that thing to fire up, so we'll have to come down and retrieve him.
Larry Wiggins, Jim Bowing.
Competition eliminator for Q2 to the lanes, please. Comp eliminator. Come on down. Looks like Bill was able to get that thing refired after all, and he's going to go ahead and drive it off the top end of the racetrack. So Bill able to drive it down to that short turnoff. They got the gate open for him, and he'll clear the top end of the racetrack as Dan Christopher and Mike Zero, the reigning division champ. It's their turn. Zero's car number is 11. His qualifying spot is 11. The Black Arrow powered 63 Corvette out of New York. And the TT Cobalt. The TT Cobalt, driven by Dan Christopher, currently sits in the number 23 position. Finish up top Sportsman. We'll go to Lebanon Valley, and then we'll come back here and do some qualifying. Alcohol cars are still going to see the racetrack one more time tonight. I just came up with my new $1 million idea. Teflon shoes. Now think about it. You could walk out on the starting line and not have to worry about it. Wouldn't hurt the glue. Wouldn't lose a shoe. Wouldn't have to look like a duck out there. I'm telling you, Teflon shoes for the starting line. That's my new $1 million idea. Don't tell anybody. I'm going to do it. What? Oh, yeah, don't tell anybody else. Just between us. If this thing takes off, if I turn out to be the next Nike, then I'll give you guys all a pair of shoes. Down to the stripes, 693. 196 miles an hour. Cerro picked up 1,000th of a second. He's going to stay number 11. Christopher goes 731. At 159, he shut off before he got to the stripe, as you could see. He'll stay number 23rd. That'll bring up Fast Freddie, as in Freddie Perkins, and Michael Bastian. Terrebonne, Quebec. I wonder where the name of that town came from. I'm just going to keep sticking a key in his back and winding him up. I'm sure somehow he's going to come up with dairy out of Terrebonne, but here we go.
It used to be a dairy farm, but the French version, so it's a dairy cemetery.
No. I think they found the remains of a pterodactyl. I'll look it up tomorrow. 800 cubic inch Dodge Daytona is Michael. Perkins in the Bel Air, and that thing's got 800 cubic inches, providing the motivation as well. Whoa. Frederick's car picked the nose up, went into some violent tire shake. That looks like a little smoke out of the header down there, and maybe more than smoke. 710, 193 miles an hour. He slowed a bit from earlier. And Perkins is just coasting through the finish line, and We got to take a look at that. There's just too much smoke down there in the shutdown area to send the beast without checking it out. Perkins was and is number 4. He'll stay there solidly in the field. Bastion, number 16, is on the front page, and you saw that smoke start coming out of the pipes. Looked like about 1,100 feet or so, and Michael's car slowed down. We just want to make sure that it was just smoke. Smoke doesn't bother us. Slickery stuff on the racetrack does bother us. The racetrack needs to be sticky, not slickery. Well, that's good news. Top end says when he came around the corner, everything's dry, but just take a second to check out the racetrack. Get back after it. Top dragster, super gas from Lebanon Valley. Come on down. So far, everything heard from the top end has been good news. Just verifying that. All right, top end from the racetrack is good. Fire the next pair, the Beast. Also known as Raymond Jackson. I'm telling you, that thing's just cool. It looks like a really old school pro mod. I love the injector. I want to put a straight edge across the injector and see if it's taller than the roof or not. If it's not missing by much. Oh, what's going on down here with Z-Beast? Continuing to work down here in Raymond Jackson's car, and it still has not started moving under its own power. Priest goes ahead and does a burnout. And I'm not sure if Ron's going to make it or not. They appear to be trying to put it in gear, but now we got it. Now we don't got it. And well, the good news for Jackson is he's qualified, he's solid. And the good news is that this happened in qualifying and not in elimination, so whatever the issue is, they'll be able to get it squared away. Wow, Pierce moved over out of the groove a full car width. But it's sprayed, it's prepped, it's sticky out there, and he sticks with it. 729 actually picks up a couple of 196 miles an hour. Was 26th. He's going to end up picking up a spot. 200ths of a second moves him up to 25th. And Raymond Jackson is being told, back up. See, the situation is this: in qualifying, when it's your turn to go, you got to go. And unfortunately, whatever the issue was with that car, they were unable to make it at their designated time. But that is your attempt. When it's your turn to run, you fire the car up, you pull it up into the burnout box. You've got to be prepared to make the run. And if you can't make the run, you don't get another opportunity at it. As I've said a time or two at the Nationals, they call that the ready line, not the give me a minute line. So again, good news for Raymond. He is qualified. He's solid the number 10 spot. No matter what happens tomorrow, he's certainly going to be in the field. And if you're going to have a situation, have it on qualifying. Definitely not first round of eliminations. Or any round of eliminations for that matter. Coming in now, Ms. Vonnie Mills out of the Show and Tell Salon, and Nick Maloney. Part of the TNT Motorsports team.
And Nick is our top.
Nick, who's had a lot of luck at this racetrack. He's the reigning track champion here at New England Dragway. And that's when he loves when events like this comes to town. He's like, you guys are in my house now. Nick 703 from earlier has got him in the number 18 qualifying spot. Vonnie, part of the 6 second club. And we're getting closer and closer to going back to Lebanon. Well, Vonnie's car, that was just a really weird move off the starting line when she cut it loose. 703 for Nick, 195 for Nick. Exactly what Nick ran earlier. And Vonnie's still rolling along down there. I think they'll be able to get that short gate open and wave her out just past the scoreboard. I hope. And Vonnie clears the racetrack there at the short turn. And that'll bring up 2 more. Brian Bell and Ron Regal. Couple of first-gen Camaros, couple of massive big blocks, Massachusetts to the left side, Pennsylvania to the right side. Now Ron Riegel's one of our 6-second players. Brian Bell is not yet. His 738's got him in the field, but only in the number 29 spot for now. They try to push Ron over. That away, that away. And get him lined up in the groove. That's a nice looking side-by-side run. Can Brian Bell step up a little bit? No, 747, 162 miles an hour. He actually slowed down at the other end of the racetrack, but he's still in. Sitting number 29 right now. Bell goes 694. After earlier going 693, so he'll stay in the number 12 spot. And here comes Mike Lebowski. A step ahead. The Procharged Chevrolet Monte Carlo and John Martin in the Cobalt. Mike is the number 2 qualifier right now. 633 was his run earlier. Needs a 10th if he wants the top spot. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking, why not take a crack at it? If you got some more boost you can pour in that thing, why not? Wheelie bar set on John Martin's machine as he rolls it forward. And tries to move up for the number 21 position. Wow. Lubnowski's car got out there about 80 feet or so and then just knocked the tires off of it. 712, 191 miles an hour for John Martin. He was in earlier to 711, so he stays consistent. But he's not going to improve. He'll stay in the number 21 qualifying position. Mike will stay in the number 2 position, but I don't think there's any question. They were pouring the coals to it out there, trying to chase that top spot. And now it's Luck Angers and Al Stafari. Al's in the truck, if that helps. I knew it would. This will be our final pair. I believe we got a couple of singles, and then we're going to officially go to Lebanon Valley. See if we can't crown some champions. What do you got for us, guys? Truck trying to move up. Got to run better than 740 to improve his time. 751. That's not going to work. 693 against the 697 for luck. He's going to pick up a couple of spots. Was 15, is now 13. Stefari's going to stay in the number 30 spot, but at least for now he's in the field. We've got 2 more to go, and then we're going to Lebanon Valley race. And Wayne Horton, number 31 qualifier in the Corvette right now. So here's the deal. If he runs better than 740, he picks up a spot. Better than 738, he picks up a couple of spots. If he can pick up, well, a 10th, he can pick up about 4 spots, and that'll make him a little bit more comfortable. Rattle the tire a little, moved left a little, hanging with it all the way to the stripe on the O'Reilly side. 738.1 was number 31, now number 29. So picking up a little breathing room there. Getting clear of the bump spot for Wayne Horton. And here comes the final truck in Top Sportsman. A final contestant, Dave Miller, in the S10, sitting number 8 right now, after an earlier 687. Dave, who also has stuck his toe in the pro stock waters this year. All right, Dave, what do you got? I'm okay with that. .686, 197 miles an hour, picked up a hundo. He's going to stay in the number 8 spot at 6.866. Cedric going to stay number 1. And there you go. All right, we are in Lebanon Valley. Listen up. Lebanon Valley, it's gas and go time. You win, turn around, come right back. We'll run this baby out. We got late into the evening at Lebanon Valley and got kiboshed. The drivers took a vote. And we're finishing here. Stock eliminator. Allie's got the bye as we are down to 7 cars. So she's going to roll up here first, the Portatree Firebird. I do like the way that car leaves. And call me crazy, but I'm betting Allison would like to save that reaction time for next round. She hit the tree at 001 and then 10:35 down the racetrack to advance into the semifinals. Now it's Brian Fink. Queen Karen, it says on the side of the car. And Keith Santoni. Mighty Mouse. Listen up in the pits. Attention in the pits. Alcohol funny car. Come on down. We need you the lanes, please. Alcohol funny car. Need you to the staging lanes, please. Comp eliminator, if you're not in the lanes, you should be. Handicap head start's going to go to the left side. Both drivers on the green side of the tree. Let's see what you got down at the other end of the racetrack. Brian Fink out in front. Keith Santoni on the chase. Here comes Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the day. Got there. 1066, 113 miles an hour on the 65 prediction. 1179 at 108 for Brian Fink. Neither driver was really stellar on the reaction timer, but Keith was able to get away with it and advance to the semifinals. James Daniel. Here comes the division champ. And Mike Farrell. Mike in the Duster. And away they go. Well, after the last two, let's just say didn't make the Dean's list for reaction time. These two were both stellar. Farrell had a 008 reaction time, but he still couldn't get there. Daniels was 023, taking fourth out, taking the win. Bubba Linke and Joe Santangelo. That's a couple of the big-time players in this part of the world. Winner gets Allison Dahl. Now, if it's Santangelo, it's heads-up B automatic. I'm not saying she's afraid of Joe Santangelo, but I bet she's rooting for Bubba Linke right now. Huge wheel stand for Joe Santangelo. That's what I was looking for earlier, and he didn't do it. This time, though, down to the stripe, watch the win light. It comes on for Bubba Linke. Dead on 4 for the win. Santangelo was better on the tree, runs 10:37 at $120. Bubba Linke gave up 200 this end, runs dead on at that end, and Bubba races alley. No heads up. Final 4 set in stock eliminator. Listen up in the pits. Attention in the pits. Stock, I need your lanes for the semifinals, please. Oh, come on, that was funny. Gas and go, gang. Whenever you can get them back here, we'll take you. Welcome to Super Street. Ray Knight and Jared Kenson. This is big. It's two for one. It's a WOGO. That's win one, get one. Winner here is going straight to the final round. With 5 cars left on the ladder, I can tell you that Brian Sawyer is going to advance unopposed. I'll call Dragster, come on down. I'll call Funny Car and Dragster. Everybody's planning to run tonight. Come on down. We need your lanes, please. 1090 the magic number. Throttle stops do their thing. Ray Knight left. Jared Kenson right. Winner's going to run for the trophy. Guaranteed. Watch the top of the scoreboard. Click, bang. There it is. 1091. 141 for the win. Jared, he's 007 on the reaction time. Made the right decision at the stripe. Ray Knight got there first, but he got there too first. After being 003, takes 5, breaks out by 4, and Jared Kenson is in the final. Now it's Mike Fitz on a solo. His opponent was Tim Fletcher. Tim Fletcher is in Columbus right now. Norwalk. I don't know. He's in Ohio somewhere. He's not in Lebanon Valley where he's supposed to be, so that's the problem. So Mike Fitz is going to take a solo. And then he'll run Brian Sawyer, who's going to take a solo. .1084 for Fitz, 132 miles an hour. So Brian Sawyer in the sudden impact car, he had no scheduled opponent. If you want to get technical, Mike's run that you just saw was a legal single, and this is a bye run. The difference being a bye run has no opponent. A legal single had an opponent who could not show for whatever reason. Like, you know, he's hanging out on a farm in Ohio someplace. Well, Brian Sawyer pulled in, staged the car, died. By rule, you must stage the car and take the tree, and he did. So he's the winner.
Push him back. He's the winner.
But he also needs to figure out what's wrong with that car pretty quick because it's gas and go time.
Don't break it yet. You'll get a reaction. Okay, now you can break it.
Oh, somebody stepped into the beans.
So whatever happened to Sawyer's car, they're going to have to get that baby fixed and get ready for the semifinals. Knowing the Sawyer clan, I have a feeling they will. So we got semifinal set in Super Street. And up next is going to be Super Gas with 5 cars still in competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason Kenny, Jerry Pierce going to be first. Fire them up, boys. The sets are in Pierce, former Pro Stock Cutlass of Jerry Pierce. And the Jegs.com Select Performance Topless Corvette Roadster of Jason Kenny. Listen up in the pits. Attention in the pits. Top Sportsman. Lebanon Valley Top Sportsman. I need you to the lanes, please. Lebanon Valley Top Sportsman to the lanes. Jerry Pierce won it before he moved. 985, 153 miles an hour. Jason Kenny goes 5 thou on the wrong side of the tree. 005 red, and Jason takes himself out of competition. Jerry Pierce will go on. And here is the WOGO, win one, get one, Rich Price, Charlie Kennepick.
Super Gas final and the top dragster final. Next, followed by Cup.
Both these drivers drill the tree. Rich Price made the wrong choice at the finish line. He got there first. He got there by a bunch, so Charlie's going to get the win, 992, and he will solo his way into the final round. And on the other side, Jerry Pierce will come back and race Kevin Robb, who's about to take his solo run. And then it'll be Top Dragster for the trophy. Top Sportsman, Lebanon Valley, need you back, please. Kevin hits the tree at 017 and hits the right lane at 8.866 and 169 miles an hour. It's trophy time.
Final from Lebanon Valley commentator.
Left lane, Sean Fournier, he's dialed in at 682. He's got that big Dodge and he's got that big bottle. Greg Kelly on the right side, the Motorsports Innovation driver out of New Jersey. And he is dialed in at 666. Both drivers easing forward, looking for that first beam. Sean finds it. Greg finds it. Roll forward, lock in. Winner takes home the Wally from Lebanon Valley. Make the right decision at the finish line stripe. Identical reaction times, and a 6:67 wins it for Greg Kelly. Sean got there first by 2 hun, broke out by 11 thou. Identical on the reaction timer. Greg Kelly was 1 over the dial, and that was Sean's window to get in, and he couldn't quite do it. So congratulations, Greg Kelly. That's a trophy dash. He picks up the win at Lebanon Valley, even though it does look an awful lot like New England Dragway. And now it's competition eliminator. Now this is qualifying for New England. So we just left Lebanon and came back here. Close your eyes. Poof. Okay, we're back. Todd Logan in that A Econo Altered small block Chevy, single 4-barrel, automatic transmission, and that little flyweight. He ran a 7:33 earlier against a 7:91 index down on the scoreboard. He's going to take on Joe Carnisciale and the iSuper Modified. You'll hear this thing come out of the water box. That's a 6-cylinder. And that's a clutch car. 5-speed transmission tucked inside that little 06 Cavalier. Joe qualified in the number 4 spot, 62 under the index. Taking a look at where we stand right this moment from a density altitude standpoint, 554 feet. In other words, it's fast out there. Not racing, back to qualifying. Just how low can you go? If you want to be the number 1 qualifier, going to have to outrun Chuck Little, who's 77 under the index. Champ Frank Aragona sitting third, Lee Zane, or sitting second, Lee Zane third, and Joe Carnisciale over there on the left side, he's 4th, 62 under. You can hear him ripping that little 6-cylinder through the gearbox as the Altered crosses the stripe first, 742, 176 miles an hour, not bad, not better. 892 at 151 miles an hour. For Carnisciale, and he slows down 300s as well.
I think he was solidly on top of it, so that's probably all that. But just make sure the yellow car's dry.
You saw a lot of dust kicking up down there, and I do believe that was from the earlier cleanup because there was still a lot of grease sweep that was laid over next to the wall, and he was over kind of on the right side of the groove when he went through.
Top end is the yellow car.
Word from the top end, all is well. That's Chip Ippolito. And Don Eckel will get the signal to fire up. Ippolito. The truck. PSTA, Pro Stock Truck with an automatic transmission. Based right here in New Hampshire. And Don Eckel in the C Dragster automatic, small block Chevy, couple of 4-barrels. 3-speed auto. 6-second player. Small block Chevy, naturally aspirated, no power adders, runs in the 6s. Chip Hippolito's got more flash in that paint than a bass boat. That thing is sparkly out here under the lights. I like it. Now, Hippolito did not get down the racetrack in the first session. We have got 12 cars in comp eliminator, and on the laddered sheet, he's 12th. Not exactly a comfortable spot. And Don Eckel. I can't be the only one that looks at those little bitty monostrut wing supports and goes, come on, that holds up a wing? Well, let me just put it to you like this. I do not believe if Austin Prock had won in that car and jumped up on that wing and started jumping up and down that it would have held. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it would. So Eckel has already been in the 6s. As I said, that thing is a small block, twin 4-barrel, very narrow, very sleek, C dragster automatic. And Eckel's car just like jumped off the ground when he cut it loose. The truck went about 100 feet and it did the same. But neither one of them is going to get the run they were looking for here tonight. For Don, he was number 5 and will stay there. And, well, for Chip, he was number 12 and he'll stay there.
Guess it wasn't sticky enough, Carl.
And here come the next pair. Lee Zane in the unique F Dragster. If you're on the right side of the racetrack where we are, tower side, and you're looking at that car, looks an awful lot like Don Eckel's, doesn't it? Well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I called them the lanes. If they get there, we'll run them.
If you're on the left side of the racetrack, it doesn't look anything like Don Eckel's. That thing is a V8 Chevrolet that's got half of it sawed off. Only running the right bank, 4 cylinders. It's fuel injected, it's coil packed. Top Sportsman, Lebanon Valley. Top Sportsman need you to the lanes, please. Rich Pressure over here in the right side. That's kind of an interesting little piece. It's a 32 Bantam with a 4-cylinder. It's a dual overhead cam 4-cylinder like you would find in a Chevy Trailblazer. The beauty of comp is that you can come up with like oddball and interesting and different combinations, and if you think you can make it work, bring it. We'll find a class for you. So the 2 4-cylinders, that sounded like a rev limiter. Good news is the rev limiter works. 820, 134 miles an hour for Zahner. He's not going to improve. 1044 for Richard. I couldn't tell which one it was, but it definitely sounded like one of them was getting into the limiter on a pretty regular basis down there on all the gear changes, so neither of those drivers can improve their position. Richard was and is 10th. Lee was and is 3rd.
I can see taillights on those.
Yeah, me too on those.
And we fire the next pair. Speaking of 4-cylinders, here comes another one, an L altered.
I think you got 2 of them. An L and a K over.
Armstrong in the Opal. and Pete Hanratty, and the K altered over here. And that I do believe is a Honda power plant. I talked to Hanratty, came up in the tower and said, hey, earlier in the day, he said, it's been a while since I've driven a clutch car. I said, are you having fun? He said, absolutely. I said, well, that's the important thing. You hear the scream of the two little four-cylinders. Actually, Hanratty's isn't a little one. It's a big one. I mean, 248 cubic inches, that's half a V8. That'd be a 500-incher. Basically half of a Pro Stock motor over here on the right side, although with overhead bump sticks and a whole lot more valves. And we're going to give Alan Armstrong the tisk tisk double bulb speech. There we go. Rules are rules. Now we're playing nice. Man, Hanratty's having to really work the steering wheel down there. And he finally gave up on it. I don't blame him. 881, 150 miles an hour for Armstrong. Picked up 1,000th of a second. Hanratty's car chatted a tire, went left, went right, went left, went right, got way over out of the groove up against the wall, and he said, you know what, I've had enough of this. Shuts off to a 916 at 96 miles an hour. And here comes one of the wildest cars in comp.
You know, you've got a pair, Dave.
It is a pair. Where's the
Gary. The car's loud, it scared me. Gary Gurriello in the Dragster. C Econo car, single 4-barrel. And Santo Volpe, the AA altered methanol. Small block Chevy with a big blower, running alcohol.
I think you need a therapy count.
Need a what?
Therapy count.
A what?
Therapy count.
Moan just won't let go of this whole dairy cow thing. The crazy thing is all night he's been talking cows, but the reality is he's full of bull. I've had enough of your bull about cows. Keep your eyes on Santo Volpe. That is one wild hot rod. Now Santo gets out of the groove and he decides enough is enough. Gary gets way up on the center line after spinning way hard on the starting line, and he decided enough was enough too. 986. 116 miles an hour for Santo. Gary goes 1025 at 87 miles an hour. Cold track, big power, small tires. Turns into a real tightrope walk. And now it's Gary Russo. in the Cavalier. All right, I'm sorry, but I just found my favorite headline of the day so far.
I was trying to say is this is the last out of line going back to the pit.
This is a legitimate headline. Crematorium gets defibrillator. Wouldn't they have needed that a little sooner? Let's take one last crack at them. Maybe it's just me. Jerry Russo is going to be the last comp car. How about that baby grabbing the starting line and standing straight up? Russo was not on the sheet earlier, so this will give us a 13th comp car. 856 against the 895, 145 miles an hour. What's that, 48.5 under the index, if I'm doing the math right? And that's going to take care of comp qualifying. Make it 38.5 under the index. Had the little numbers right. Just missed the big one. Alcohol funny car coming up now. Dan Pomponio, currently in the number 6 spot, with the best speed of 96 miles an hour. And Matt Gill, sitting in the number 4 spot. His best speed, 268 miles an hour. That's better. DJ Cox sitting in the number 1 spot. Now remember, the alcohol cars are going to race tomorrow. This is final qualifying. And Dan Pomponio certainly does not want to go into race day having not had to pull the parachutes yet. They just need to get some kind of run down the racetrack so they have something to work with. Matt Gill's batting 500 right now. His 565 was okay. His other run was a 990. That's a little bit more like it. 5 5:51, 262 miles an hour, and Dan Pomponio goes to the top. Matt Gill goes 5:56, 265 miles an hour, and he is now third. So Pomponio, talk about getting what you wanted. 7 cars on the ladder. Number 1 will have a solo run tomorrow if that sticks. That was basically a 2-for-1. A good solid hit out there at 5:51 or 262 miles an hour. Matt Gill now third. And I do believe we've got one other funny car back here. A couple of them opted out tonight. They decided we'll just come back tomorrow feeling pretty comfortable about things, and we'll be ready to race. And that obviously is at their discretion. There's no rule that says you have to make every qualifying session, especially in a short field like this. Sometimes you decide just to save the bucks. But here comes Fred Tigges, who currently finds himself in the number 5 spot. The difference right now between the number 1 qualifier and the number 5 qualifier is 7/100ths of a second. Top 5 are all in the 550 something. And as Pomponio just showed us, low ET of the event is out there. Come and get it. Hopefully I've got all my Lebanon Valley cars back in the staging lanes, please. All my Lebanon Valley cars, you need to be back in the lanes. That's looking pretty good. 5:58, 261 miles an hour for Tigges. Can improve 0.02 of a second. Not going to pick up a spot, but that's 2 good, solid back-to-back runs for Fred. And it looks like he's going to be ready to race tomorrow. Fred's going to go into race day not having lane choice, but having a pretty good car. He's not going to be an easy out tomorrow, no question about it. We'll give him a little shove at the top end of the racetrack, and we got alcohol dragsters at the ready line. Interesting situation here. That's Jim Libby. That's Tom Pickett. We have 10 alcohol dragsters here. 8 of them get to race tomorrow. Jim Libby, left side, not yet qualified. He made a run earlier and just knocked the tires off of it. Tom Pickett has not yet made a run. There have been 2 sessions offered, but Pickett's team was back there still working on the car, putting it together, getting it ready to go. So for Tom Pickett, his first shot at the racetrack is either going to get him in the field or let him head back to Salem. And I mean, I guess the good news is it wouldn't take him long to get home. But when you're racing this close to home, you don't want to go home before the race even starts. He's got to have friends, family, and folks that are coming out to watch him. Now, Jim Libby just got his license. The JLP car over there on the left side. Bob Otto of Otto Man Technologies is helping him get this thing sorted out. They smoked the tires on the first qualifying session, so it's up to now. The bump spot you see down there is 556, and that is Bruce Horner. If they both want to get in the field, they both have to go quicker than Rich St. Pierre's 544. The top 6 cars are all in the 520s. So if you want to be sure, you better dip down at least that far. Tom Pickett, kaboom! 568, 206 miles an hour. I don't think there's any doubt that that thing was going into the field until it went kaboom. Libby smoked the tires, goes 1477 at 70 miles an hour, almost exactly what he did earlier. And Bruce Horner, looks like you're going to race tomorrow. And that's for the unfortunate luck of Tom Pickett, who definitely looked like early numbers and early indications were that he was going to be able to run quicker than 556, but you saw it, you heard it, kablooey. And they're going to have to check top end of the racetrack, not just for liquid on the racetrack, but also make sure there's no parts and pieces down there that anybody could run over, because when something blows up that big, pretty good chance there's a little piece of something, if nothing else, nuts, bolts, and supercharger fasteners that just got dislodged. So we'll check the top end of the racetrack, and as soon as we get the 2 thumbs up from there, we'll continue on with alcohol qualifying, and hopefully all of my Lebanon Valley cars are in the lanes. Yeah, the top end crew walking down there, and they are picking up a couple of little pieces, like, you know, the nuts, the bolts, the fasteners that get broken when those things backfire. So just be a minute before we make sure we got everything clear at the top end of the racetrack, and we'll send to the next ones. Hey, Brian Sawyer. Brian, I need you back to the lanes, please. If you're not going to make it, please let us know. And now, Richard St. Pierre out of Quebec. AJ Power, Hadman Chassis. Boy, there have been a whole lot of races and championships won with a combination like that. Now, St. Pierre currently sits in the number 7 spot. He's run back-to-back 40s. If he wants to pick up a spot, he's going to have to run in the 20s. What they want to do right now is try to learn something that may help tomorrow. Richard has already made his career best run here this weekend. Well, let's see if they can find a little bit more performance, because he knows tomorrow he's going to have to race one of the really fast guys if he stays number 7. Right now he'd be looking at a date with Troy Coughlin. Car made a little sachet out there, but he's able to hang with it. Finish line, I saw some smoke out of the pipes before the finish line. And the speed is down to only 217 miles an hour. So a 569, 217. St. Pierre is going to race tomorrow. Looks like they may have some work to do tonight, however. After a career best number earlier in the day, make the field, and looks like he's going to race whoever ends up being the number 2 qualifier right now. That would be Troy Coughlin.
Yeah, we should.
They just started Jackie Frick's car, and she is sitting in the car like frantically waving at John and the team about something. And looks like they're happy with it now. A pretty big bang back here when it was rolling past the tower, but everything seems to be fine now. One of these things about these injected nitro cars, they sound a whole lot different when they're loaded than when they're not loaded. And you don't have to take my word for it. Wait till she pulls that thing into the beams, takes her foot off the clutch, and lets that centrifugal clutch start dragging. You'll hear that motor tone change drastically. These things, much like top fuel cars, don't run a transmission. They run high gear only, and they run a centrifugal style clutch. Unlike the fuel cars, top fuel cars, they don't have clutch management. It's just a matter of set it up and hit the gas, and, well, as Robert Height once called it, a glorified go-kart clutch. But listen to this when she takes her foot off the pedal. Listen to the difference in the tone of the motor right there. Thing was solid early, flamed up, and then went out there and shook pretty good. And Jackie decided enough was enough. 1167, 64 miles an hour. One of the things that's tough when it gets late like this, and the track is as good as it is out there, cool temperatures, finding enough wheel speed on these things. If the tires bite, the tires are going to shake. So you got to be real aggressive. Get some wheel speed out there going early if you want one of these things to get down the racetrack. Now the good news is when you got situation conditions like this, if you get the thing to make the move off the starting line, well, hang on, man, because it's going to be fast. Giving Jackie a boost down there and firing up the next pair. Or maybe not the next pair. Hey, this will be more fun. We'll send them down two at a time. Josh Hart and Dan Mercier. They sit right now in the number 4 and 3 qualifying positions. They're separated by 0.06 of a second. They're separated from the number 1 position by 0.03 of a second. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? Just make it 300 quicker. Get after it. Sounding simple and being simple are two different things. Like, for instance, I sound simple, but I'm not. No, really, I'm not. I know I sound that way, but I'm not. Number 1 qualifier right now, 5.220. And the only reason these 2 cars are up here is because they think they can run better than that. The TechNet team is Josh Hart. The 8F Diesel team, that'd be Dan Mercier. And here we go. .524, 275 miles an hour. Josh Hart picks up a Hun. Mercier shakes pretty violently down at this end, shuts off, goes 14.48, only 48 miles an hour. And at 5.243, Josh Hart's going to pick up a spot. He goes from 4th to 3rd and pushes Mercier down 1. But love nitro cars at night. They're feeding these things a whole lot of fuel. And that's the flame you see out of the pipes down there. It looks like we got 1 pair left. We'll get the top end all clear momentarily, and we'll bring Dwayne Shields and Troy Coughlin Jr. to the line.
All right, folks, those that are in the base 5 category, Super Comp, Super Street, Stock, Super Stock, if you did not make 2 runs this afternoon, come on down to the staging lanes. If you did not make 2 runs this afternoon, please come on down to the staging lanes.
As Bill said, that is Super Street, Super Comp, Super Gas, Stock, and Super Stock only. Now that's Dwayne Shields, and he is already the number 1 qualifier. And that's Troy Coughlin, who's number 2, and wants it. These 2 cars have been virtually identical in the 2 runs earlier today. Dwayne's best of 5:22, Troy's best of 5:23. Dwayne's second best, 5:26. Troy's second best, 5:26. A couple of the real players out here in this part of the world. Of course, the Blue Peak machine, the former champ, Dwayne Shields, and the yellow and black, Troy Coughlin, who is chasing championship points with the help of the McPhillips family. And they just signaled TJ, bring it forward, and they gave Dwayne exactly the same signal. Well, TJ smokes, Dwayne shakes. How's that Josh Hart car looking right now, huh? The only one that got down the racetrack here in these chilly conditions, 1093, 79 miles an hour, Dwayne. 1335, 49 miles an hour, Troy, but one shake, one smoke, and that's that. That'll set the field for tomorrow. Looks like Dwayne Shields got a day with Bruce Horner. Richard St. Pierre going to meet Troy Coughlin, Josh Hart against Jackie Frick, Dan Mercier, and Tom Fox. That's the way I've got it written up here. And we're going to go back to Lebanon Valley. One more time for cleanup runs: Super Street, Super Gas, Super Comp, Stock, and Super Stock. If you've had 2 today, you're good. See you tomorrow. If you've not had 2 and you want the second one, now's the time. Top Sportsman semifinals rolling in now. Just as soon as we get the all clear from down at the other end of the racetrack. John Anamoretti here on the left side, Rich LaChapelle on the right side. Semifinals, Lebanon Valley. You can see the dial-ins down on the scoreboard, handicap head start. I'm going to go to Rich by about a half a bulb, even though the top bulbs come on at the same time on both sides. The blown Corvette, Anamoretti out of New York, LaChapelle in the Beretta. Here we go for a berth in the final. Wow, Anamoretti broke something between the crankshaft and the drive shaft. And there's going to be your winner, 814, 162 miles an hour for Rich. You heard Anamoretti's car. It came cleanly off the starting line, and then the engine was no longer attached to the rear wheels. Went right up to the rev limiter, and to John's credit, as soon as he knew there was a problem, he pulled over and stopped just in case something might be leaking out of that car. Because, well, as we all learned over the years, it's a whole lot easier to clean up a puddle than it is to clean up a trail. But Rich LaChapelle noticed John wasn't over his shoulder, eased back off the throttle to stay on the good side of the dial, and he'll put himself in the trophy dash. You hate it for John out there, but there was no question what happened. Something in the driveline broke. When the crankshaft is no longer attached to the rear wheels, that's not good. Hopefully whatever it is something that's going to be repairable, and they'll be able to bring that car back and race it later on in the weekend. Well, at least the good news is, from what I'm seeing and hearing, I don't believe that John Scar is depositing anything down on the racetrack, but we certainly applaud him for pulling over the wall and stopping just in case. We have to push him over. Our pusher is set up for a right-hand push, so we need to push him over a little bit so we can get the quad in there behind him. And they open the gate down there just past the scoreboard. John will get clear, and we'll bring up the other semifinalist. And the Corvette should make the swing here in just a second. Then we'll figure out who's going to come back and run. Rich LaChapelle. Final call for cleanup runs. Final call, Super Street, Super Gas, Super Comp. Stock and Super Stock. If you've had 2 today, you're done. If you have not and you want another one, come on. We need your lanes now. Top end clear. And now let's see if Eric Cabral or Nick Maloney will be in the other lane for the Lebanon Valley final round.
Thank you.
There's Eric for the Ionati brothers, and good old Jesse James and Nick Maloney driving one of the fleet of TT Motorsports machines.
Stock semis will be next, followed by Super Gas semis, then Super Street semis.
You can see the numbers dialed up on the scoreboard and what the handicap is. Last one was 2.5 bulbs. This one's a half a bulb. And a double bulb for Nick. And he backs up when we try this again. Both drivers away on the green. They are boogieing down the boulevard. Watch the top of the scoreboard. Who's coming back? It's going to be Eric. 7:30 on the 29, 7:04 and a 7:02 for Nick Maloney. Nick was 1 back on the tree and 1 more back on the track. Margin of victory about 200ths of a second. And Eric and Rich, that'll be our final round in Lebanon Valley. Just as soon as they can get turned around and back up here. And now it's stock eliminator. And we're down to the final 4. Bubba and Allie. Pretty close to the same combination. A couple of Gen 4F bodies, a couple of 350s. Running at a slightly different weight break, which makes one a C automatic and one a B automatic. Difference in dial is 0.2. We'll let Bubba have the head start and then see if the bad girl can catch him. A couple of NHRA legacy babies grew up in racing families. You pretty much knew they were going to end up here sooner or later. Red light for the red car. Allie's headed to the final. Bubba Lenke was 0-1-6 on the wrong side of the tree, and she goes 10:38 on the 10:36 prediction. All she had to do was be green, and she was. Bubba 0-16 on the bad side, 10:56 on the racetrack. And Allie's either going to run Jimmy Daniels in the left side or Keith Sansone if the win light comes on the right side. Handicap this time goes to the left side. Here comes the champ. Here comes the challenge. Sansone, that little small block breathing through the 180-degree headers, makes it sound a little bit on the different side. He is rapidly running out of real estate. Finish line, not going to catch him. Man, that's just mean. Jimmy Daniels goes 007, takes 4th thou. What did Keith do to you? Keith is 017 on the reaction time and was locked out of the race at that point. 64 on a 63 for Keith. Couldn't get the nose out in front of Jimmy Daniels. 007. Taking 4th thou. So it'll be Jimmy and Allie in the final round, and now we've got Super Gas. 3 cars left. Winner here is going to come back and run Charlie. Will it be Kevin Robb, the A1 mulch car? Will it be the Setzer Pierce car, driven by Jerry Pierce? I just told that Jerry Pierce blowed one up at Atco and actually had to borrow a power plant to come out here and race this weekend. You know the old story about there's only 2 feet of the racetrack that really matter, the first foot and the last foot? Well, on the first foot, Jerry Pierce was better, and he's going to get the win. 005 taking 3 thou. I thought Daniels was mean. 007 taking 4. Jerry Pierce laughs at that. 005 taking 3, and 92 beats a 91. Kevin Robb goes 16.91. That'll win a lot of races, as long as the guy in the other lane's not 005. Taking 3 thou. Just nasty stuff. So Charlie Kennepick gets the bye run, and he'll be back. See if he can stop the Oldsmobile. Charlie takes his practice run. Ooh, and shuts it off early. Get your 1,000-foot numbers and figure it out from there after being 006 on the reaction timer. Final set. So in Super Street, Jared Kenson should be back there someplace. Brian Sawyer. The sudden impact car staged and quit last time. They actually pushed it off the starting line. And Mike Fitz. Custer's last stand. A lot to like about that Duster. I like something about square snorkel scoops. It like takes me back. Sawyer's car lurched when he tried to bring it up on a converter. They had a problem last time, it quit. They went through mad thrash mode to get it back up here, and then when he tried to bring it up against a converter, it surged forward. And that was game over for Brian Sawyer. Mike Fitz goes dead 4 to go into the final against Jared Kenson.
What do you think, Dave? Maybe 5 minutes of dragging?
And Jared on the solo hits the tree at 017 and hits the scoreboard. 1088. 143 miles an hour. He's ready. Okay, here's the situation. We got a couple of cleanup runs down in the staging lanes, and then we've got our finals from Lebanon Valley, and all of our finalists, if you would please, gas and go. Top the tank, touch the tires, and head right on back.
And see how much time he's going to need. I think he was the only one on nitrous. I don't think Washington calls on nitrous.
And in the meantime, we're going to do a couple of drags out here on the racetrack, just to keep a little temperature in it. Knock off any dust that may have accumulated. We've got a couple of cleanup runs back in the staging lanes, and when they are ready to go, we'll send them, we'll send the finals, and we'll put this baby into the history books. Meanwhile, we could either tell more cow stories, which I don't want to do,